Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, could the Las Vegas Raiders trade for Cowboys star edge rusher Micah Parsons? If you're wondering, Mitch, why the hell are we talking about it? The reason, there's multiple sources out there indicating that the Dallas Cowboys are unhappy with Micah, and all 31 teams, if you don't at least pick up the phone and call Jerry Jones, then you're not doing the right job, because he's one of the best players in the NFL, and all 31 teams would be interested. So according to Shan Shariff, who is a host of 105.3 The Fan, said, I have heard from way too many people this offseason. I'm talking about at least 4 different people have told me that Micah has worn thin there. I don't know how much is true and how much is actually hurts his reputation. I don't know whether this is the behavior of a typical superstar. I don't know how damaging it is, but all I do know is this. I have heard from way too many people that if Micah Parsons was out there, there would be a decent amount of people inside the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco smiling or breathing a sigh of relief. So essentially, this is somebody who's very well connected with the Dallas Cowboys, saying that there are a lot of people inside of the Cowboys facility, inside the Cowboys coaching staff, that if Micah Parsons left, that there would be a sigh of relief. And I'm going to say this, if you want free Raiders videos, hit that subscribe button. Do not hit that subscribe button if me simply talking about something that I would talk about with all my friends, like Graf's going to be on the show on Friday. If you're getting offended by something that I would talk about with all my buddies at a bar, then you can get the F out of here. I don't want you around. And this is the off season. We're providing free content. Let's have an adult conversation. And if you don't want Micah, cool, just say it. But at least let's have the conversation, because if Micah Parsons becomes available, if all 31 NFL GMs don't pick up the phone and call Jerry Jones, probably the oldest human being in the NFL right now, and not try to take advantage of that deal, then you're not very good at your job. So coming up here, we're going to talk about why I would trade for Micah Parsons, because I do think that there are reasons why you should, and I do think that there are reasons why you shouldn't. And just like that with everything that there is in life, like there are pros, there are cons, and good NFL teams weigh out all those options. And before anybody says, Mitch, Micah Parsons is never getting traded, Micah Parsons is never getting traded to the Raiders, this is my favorite part about doing NFL shows, because as soon as you say it's never going to happen, it does happen. Hell, I can remember when all these people, all these Texans fans, were calling Chugs crazy because he put out an idea of the Texans traded for Stephon Diggs 2 weeks before it happened. Guess what? It ends up happening. Tyreek Hill never getting traded away from the Kansas City Chiefs. Guess what happened? Snap of a finger. The Denver Broncos are never going to trade for Russell Wilson. Wilson's not going to go anywhere. Snap of a finger, it happened. Hell, I can remember people told me I was crazy that the Broncos were going to cut Wilson and eat $90 million dead cap hit. I was talking about that in January. Guess what? It happened. This one, I had to eat the world's spiciest chip because I said the Raiders will never trade for Devontae Adams. 9 hours later, guess what? It happened. The Khalil Mack trade. When we started this show, I was on Facebook, and I said that there was a chance Khalil Mack is going to get traded. The names I was called on Facebook. Oh, man. Guess what? It happened. All my point is on doing this show is trades can happen. Nothing is impossible. But you know what? It's the off season, and I want to talk about it here a little bit. So what do you think here? Do you want the Raiders to trade for Micah Parsons? If it comes out that the Dallas Cowboys are shopping edge rusher Micah Parsons, do you do it? It's going to cost a lot. Give me a yes or give me a no. What do you think? My answer coming up after this YouTube ad break. There is reasons why I would, and there are reasons why I wouldn't. And the reason why that I say that is because you're not trading for a player like Micah. You're not investing all this money in him. You're not investing all the draft capital unless several other things fall in line. And if you're the Raiders, you got to make sure that all your I's are dotted, all your T's are crossed if you're going to pull off a blockbuster deal like this. So coming up here, I'm going to tell you why the Raiders should and why they shouldn't trade for Micah Parsons. That is all coming up here on the Raiders Report, because, again, I'm not doing a deal like that unless other things fall in line. So you can make your, this is like a show of pick your own adventure. You can either join me on my adventure of trading for Micah, or you can pick the adventure of joining me on why you wouldn't trade for Micah Parsons. But I do got to give a shout out to our sponsor here today, LinkedIn Jobs. And if anybody out there is not on LinkedIn, get started. And I know some people that follow me on social media know that Chat Sports, we have been hiring. And the only place that we trust when we hire is over at LinkedIn. And what's really crazy is if it wasn't for LinkedIn, I wouldn't even be here as the host of the Raiders Report. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So it's easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. That's linkedin.com/NFL Daily to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Like, the reason why that I'm throwing this out there is from doing this show, I've been able to meet a lot of people that do own their own business. Like the guy from Panda Sups, Murbad. He's been on the show for a long, long time. Uses LinkedIn. Justin Abgen, he owns his own plumbing company. He's watching the show all the time. I hope he uses LinkedIn when he hires new people. Here at Chat Sports, guess what? We use LinkedIn. We are a small business. When I started working here, we were probably at like 6, 7 people. Then we were at 4 people, and now we got a Cincinnati branch. We are building here something special in Dallas. My point is, I'm sitting up here looking at all of y'all in the eye saying, we use LinkedIn to help build Chat Sports. Why? Because we trust LinkedIn. And if you trust me, you trust what we're building here at Chat Sports, if you're trying to start up your own business or you got a small business, you should trust LinkedIn and go to linkedin.com/NFL Daily. Those links are available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. So coming up here, why I would trade for Micah Parsons if I'm the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm a guy that likes a good deal. And in this situation, if this ends up going down, if you have the opportunity to trade for a top 10 player in the NFL, a elite player that you're going to be able to get at a discount, why the hell would you not at least consider it? Because this isn't a situation where the Raiders are going out and they're saying, hey, I want to trade for Micah Parsons. If that happens, get your checkbook out, get all your draft picks out. It's going to be expensive. In this situation, the Cowboys are like, I don't really know if I want to handle this Parsons situation anymore, and we got to pick between paying Dak or Micah. I don't know if they're going to be able to do both because I would say the cheapest owner in the NFL, it might be Jerry Jones, and if they might have to pick between that. So the reason why you're going to do it, number one, he's an elite player. Can you imagine the defense? Can you imagine the opposing quarterback? Can you imagine the opposing offensive coordinator going, I got to try to figure out a way to block Maxx Crosby, Micah Parsons, and Christian Wilkins. Good luck. You could bring 3 and you could drop back the other 8 and you're still going to be putting up insanity type of numbers. He's one of the best in the biz of being able to pin his ears back, go after, and get the quarterback. I mean, look at the numbers here from just the past 2 seasons, 2022, 2023. Micah is right up there with, guess who? Maxx Crosby. Crosby's the better run stopper. Micah might actually be the better player at getting after the QB. What I do know is this. They're both extremely competitive human beings. And if Maxx gets a sack, Micah's going to want 2. If Micah gets 2 sacks, Maxx going to want 3. Competition, as AP said, is never a bad thing. The other reason why I would potentially do it is he's got 2 years left on his rookie deal. I'll admit, if you trade for him, you're probably going to have to pay him big. However, though, there is like that part of the discussion where it's like, all right, we can trade for him. And then he does have those 2 years left on his rookie deal, so at least there's a potential that 1 year, maybe 1 year, you still get him on a rookie deal. If I'm Antonio Pearson, I'm Tom Telesco, and there's a legitimate chance that I got to roll with the quarterbacks that I have, having Mike on a rookie deal, having Maxx Crosby, having this entire defense that we have, like, I already think that the Raiders might have the best defense in the NFL. You had Micah, and there's no more discussion in that. If you believe defense wins championships, then yes, this is something that you do. If the Raiders don't plan to extend Malcolm Koonce, I've said on this show time and time and time again, I would extend Malcolm Koonce. I would give him a contract. I'd get it done. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and he's going to be a free agent next offseason. Hear me out, though. What if Malcolm wants a lot more money than it's expected? What if Malcolm's like, hey, I want $14, $15 million a year coming off the season that I had? If you're the Raiders, do you decide to give Malcolm that contract, or do you decide to go out and get a guy like Micah Parsons, who's younger and he is better? I think everybody watching the show right now loves Malcolm, no doubt about it. But if you're legitimately not considering of bringing him back and you're going to put all your trust in Tyree Wilson, I don't know if I like that idea. So if you're the Raiders and you're like, no, I'm not going to bring back Malcolm, why not go get Micah Parsons then? And because, well, you're probably going to have to move on from Malcolm if you do end up getting a guy like Micah. The other one is this. The Raiders aren't paying a quarterback right now. They got Aiden O'Connell on a rookie contract. Even if you drafted Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix Jr., it's not a lot of money. You're not paying a QB $50, $60 million per year, where you'd be able to have the money to be able to allocate, especially towards your salary cap right now. Like, the Raiders would have enough money on their salary cap right now to allocate that to go get a guy like Micah Parsons. You'd be able to do it right now. Like, yeah, the Cowboys probably wouldn't do it because they're going to eat a lot of dead money, but if you really want to get out of a certain situation, it's possible. And sure, the Raiders gave Gardner Minshew, I get it, 2 years, $25 million, but his salary cap's only $8 million. And when you're in this quarterback situation that the Raiders are in, you have the ability to pay a guy like Micah a little bit more money. The last one is this, and maybe the most important reason. Maxx Crosby and Micah Parsons are great friends. They work out every offseason together. Micah comes down to in this area, Texas. For those who don't know, Max down here in this area in Texas. They work out together. Like, it's not often that another NFL player on another team is as open and honest about their friendship with another player. And Max is very open about his friendship with Micah. Like, when those two go up against each other, it's nothing but love. It's also great competition. But, I mean, here's a picture of Micah before a Cowboys game rocking a Maxx Crosby jersey or Maxx Crosby t-shirt. Like, if Max, who has been everything to this organization, think about it. If he's backed up Antonio Pierce, if Maxx Crosby said out loud to everybody right now, I want the Raiders to trade for Micah Parsons, I think the Raiders try to do it. And I think there's a lot of Raider fans out there that at first when they were watching the show, they were like, no way do you do it. The fact that Max backs it up, the fact that Max is everything of what a Raider is supposed to be, like, I'm going to be real. The reason why I made this show is because I know how great of friends Max and Micah are. And you unite those two guys, I think all the concerns of everything going on around Micah evaporates. You know who's going to get him even at a higher level? Maxx Crosby and Antonio Pierce. And if you believe in those two guys, and you also believe in Rob Leonard and Patrick Graham, dude, Micah in a Raiders jersey, I'm telling you right now, I think it would make a lot of people not forget about Khalil Mack, but it would make the pain a little bit less, just a little bit less. So how about this? Let's have a little bit of fun, because you got to play both sides of this, because there are reasons why you should, and there are reasons why you shouldn't trade Micah. And coming up here, I'm going to tell you why it doesn't make sense for the Raiders to do it. The biggest reason for me personally is edge isn't a huge need right now. Yeah, you could build some depth, and I still want the Raiders to go out and get a few extra depth pieces at defensive end. What I don't want, though, is if you trade for Micah, then that means Malcolm Koonce is going to get less snaps. I want the Raiders to give Malcolm more opportunities. To me, he earned it in the final 9 games when Antonio Pierce took over last season. He had 8 sacks. Like, to me, if you're going to spend all this money and all this draft capital, at least it be on a position that we really, really need. Yes, we need depth, but I'm very confident in Max and Malcolm to be able to get after the quarterback. Sure, there's that other side of it. You can never have too many edge rushers, especially when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert all the time. But, like, it's not a big-time need. The other reason why I don't know if I would do it is because it's going to cost tons of draft capital. Even in the scenario that Micah says, or not even Micah, but Jerry Jones, the Cowboys, like, you know what, I want to get rid of this situation. He's not fitting well with our locker room, blah, blah, blah. If the reports are true that the Cowboys would take a little bit of a sigh of relief, it's going to cost a ton of draft capital. And the trade that I would think about is the Khalil Mack trade, where nobody a part of Raider Nation wanted the Raiders to trade Khalil Mack, but you know who did? John Gruden. And because he wanted to trade him away, he was willing to do it for a little bit less of a price. So let's play a little bit of a game here where if the Cowboys wanted to move on from Micah, and they're like, you know what? We'll take 2 first-round picks, a 6th, and a 3rd-round pick, and then the opposing team gets Micah Parsons, and then they're also able to get a 2nd and a 7th rounder. Like, this is a deal where that's not that expensive considering how great Khalil was and considering how great Micah Parsons is right now. The other reason is you will have to pay him. And the number I'm about to throw out, some people might look at and they're going to roll their eyes a little bit. But, like, if Josh Allen, the defensive end, is getting $28 million, if Brian Burns is getting $28 million, Nick Bosa making $34 million per year, here's the thing. Micah's going to get 35 because what happens? The salary cap goes up every year. The next big player gets the next big deal. And I legitimately think that Micah's going to get $35 million per year, whether it's with the Cowboys, whether it's with another team. Micah's that next big guy who's in that consideration of being the best edge rushers with Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Maxx Crosby. But what's interesting here for the Raiders is you're going to give Micah Parsons $35 million, and then Max is going to be like, I want 36. Now, maybe Max doesn't do it because Max wants to be a Raider and he wants to win, but like Max, the next time he gets his contract, which it would not surprise me if he gets an extension next offseason because he has $0 million guaranteed in 2025 and in 2026. If I'm Max, I'm going, I want a few extra million. I want some extra guarantees. So for you to probably invest over $30 million per year in 2 edge rushers, that's a lot of money. And if I'm the Raiders, Micah's great. No way I'm picking Micah Parsons over Maxx Crosby. The final reason is this. Malcolm would be gone. He would be gone. If you trade for Micah, that means Malcolm is no longer a part of your picture. And if I'm being real, I would rather give Malcolm Kuntz $10 million per year instead of giving Micah Parsons $35 million per year, plus with all the other draft capital that I have to give up. Like, you have the opportunity right now for Las Vegas to extend Malcolm Kuntz, and this whole video goes bye-bye, right? Because then you have your 2 edge rushers with AP, guys that prove to you. Like, I can give you both reasons why they should and why they shouldn't, and ultimately, it might come down to what the Raiders think that they're going to do with Malcolm Kuntz. And if they want to keep him, then this thing just goes right out the window. If they're not going to plan on keeping Malcolm, then as far as I'm concerned, you do need to add another edge rusher. And if Max says that he wants Micah, well, then maybe we can figure something out. So coming up here on the show, my Raiders trade idea for Micah Parsons. And it's a juicy one, right? But before I show you that, I do want to show you why I would trade for him because he is an elite player. He's got 2 years left on that rookie deal. If the Raiders don't plan on extending Kuntz, makes a little bit of sense. Not paying a quarterback right now, so you'd be able to use some of that extra money that you usually pay a QB, allocate that towards Micah. And the fact that Max and him are great friends, I'm a person where I'm trying to keep Maxx Crosby as happy as humanly possible. The reason why you shouldn't do it, not a big need. It's going to cost a ton of draft capital. The Raiders are going to have to pay him a boatload of money, $35 million plus a year. And then Kuntz is no longer a part of this situation. So the trade that you're going to see, and I love making trades because I already know it. You already know it. There's going to be people that just get so upset about this deal, but realistically, this is a steal for Micah. And the reason why that I'm showing you this trade is because of this. For the Cowboys to swap 13 and 24, for you to go to 24 to 13, that's an extra first-round pick. And the Khalil Mack trade, there were 2 first-round picks involved. And again, you're buying low here on Micah. The reason why that Tyree Wilson is involved is because Tyree Wilson, he lives in this area. His agent is in the DFW, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so it would be a little bit easier for him to come in. So that was your first-round pick, 7th overall last season, not a part of this regime anymore. Tyree Wilson can go down here, basically stay down here in Dallas, and be a part of the Cowboys. And also in that Khalil Mack trade, there was a 3rd-round pick involved. So, like, this honestly is a very good deal for the Raiders. And the Cowboys could use a DT. Like, if I had to add that cherry on top and say, hey, you want Byron Young thrown in there? I'll throw Byron Young in there because they let go of Jonathan Hankins. My point is this. This would be a fair deal for the Raiders to do. It really would be. And you would still have a first-round pick at number 24. I also know that the Cowboys are looking for a left tackle. Would you swap out Tyree Wilson for Colton Miller? I personally wouldn't. I'd rather have Colton Miller. But, like, there is a trade that could potentially happen. And this is just a fun idea. So let's just have a normal conversation about it. I know that's not how it's going to go, and I want you to take a screenshot of this. I want you to post it on Twitter. I want you to put this on Instagram, and I want you to tag me, tag Chugs, and let's get this thing going viral. Believe it or not, it does help me out. And I'm going to post it on social media myself because I know how people react to trades time and time again. But let me know down below, who wins this trade, the Raiders or the Dallas Cowboys? The reason why I'm sitting up here saying it's the Las Vegas Raiders is because that's a hell of a deal for Micah Parsons. It really is. And you still get to keep your first-round pick. Like, if you're telling me I get to pick 24 and we still have our pick at 44, if Michael Penix Jr. just slides a little bit, you could still have that ability to go up and trade up and get your guy. Now, again, this is all speculation. Hopefully you had a fun time watching the show because at the end of the day, it's the offseason, and I'm here to have a good time. If you're watching this live show, we're about to have a real good time here on the Raiders Report. Remember, we go live every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. And if you don't know, Graphic Raiders pulling up on Friday, and shit's about to get lit.